Brian LaRose here with tonight's Partner Focus, and I'm joined by my good friend and VVD architect, Joshua Lory. Josh, thanks for coming out and joining us tonight.
No problem.
We're just outside the hackathon, which is happening in the Luxor. There's a lot of coding going on over here to our right. Just a wonderful event, and we're really looking to see what the developers can turn out over there. But your developers have been working really hard over the last year to build a VVD 4.1 release, which just came out last week.
Correct.
In Partner Focus here, we're really talking about what benefit the VVD 4.1 will have for the partner community in terms of, in terms of going to market with their products. So what impact do you hear our partners are going to gain from 4.1?
Yeah, so a lot of the stuff that we've been doing over the last 2 years with VVD, I'm looking over here? Yeah. Okay. A lot of stuff that we've been doing over the last 2 years with VVD is really around industrializing the private cloud experience and modernizing the data center. We've been targeting a couple of key outcomes and a couple of key use cases, things like IT automating IT or infrastructure as a service, microsegmentation, VDI. All of these things are kind of heavy hitters that partners want to get base their offerings off of, but they need to industrialize those offerings. And so what we've been doing with VVD is really putting together a solid comprehensive design with design decisions that have been tested by the experts. These are people that have done it in the field hundreds of times. And we're doing things like interoperability testing on this design. We're doing things like scale testing on this design. We're also providing things around day two operations. So how do you back up this design and restore it? How do you do DR on this design, right? Exactly. So these are things that VMware really hasn't put a lot of time and effort into, really around deploying the products. But now we are putting together this design as a comprehensive unit with multiple products and use cases in mind.
Absolutely, and what I'm hearing from the partners I call on is the management plane becoming mission critical.
That's right.
So talk about that. I mean, the lifecycle manager, and now this is not only managing the infrastructure, it's a critical part of their day-to-day operations.
Yeah, so once you get the stack up and running and using our standardized design and creating a repeatable offering, you need to lifecycle manage that into perpetuity, right? So patching, upgrading, keeping the management stack at the management plane up to date, right? And that's from a couple of different reasons. You want the latest and greatest features, so you get to those new use cases.
Right.
Plus, you want to keep that infrastructure as compliant and secure as possible.
Exactly.
And that's what we've really been hitting on with the partners, because a lot of the partners are going into heavy regulated industries, like the federal government, like banking, like natural resources, and they need that guidance on how do you take this whole system and harden it. We're also providing guidance around that as well. So like I mentioned, the day two guidance around backup, restore, DR, monitoring and alerting, and more. We're doing patch, upgrade, right, guidance, but we're also auditing this system against things like PCI and CGIS and NIST. So you'll have a third-party attestation coming in to our factory and basically giving us the seal of approval. We can turn around that and give that to a partner and tell them, hey, here's what you're going to need to get 90% of the way there to PCI or CGIS or NIST, for example. This is really helping them reduce the amount of time to R&D their offerings, because we're doing it in the factory. They're focusing on, how do I build applications on top of this? How do I integrate it into my customers' third-party systems, hybrid cloud? They can focus on higher value services. Let us do and spend the R&D funding on the VMware components and how to actually build that as a system. Let the partners do what they're best at.
Absolutely. So our partners that are in the federal space,
it
sounds like this new offer is really going to accelerate them hitting the ground running.
That's right.
Deploying a data center and then immediately beginning with all of the federal FedRAMP compliance and all that.
So much so that we just announced with Deloitte, our Certified Partner Architecture program, that Deloitte is coming out with their multi-cloud solution, which will be based on what we're talking about, Vmware Validated Designs. They're going to turn that around and turn it into a FedRAMP offering. So they're going to basically kill two birds with one stone, get their FedRAMP certification. We'll also have that attestation for everybody else to use, right? So we're going to share that IP out with everybody else on how you get the VVD to FedRAMP through this Deloitte partnership. So it's actually like a two-way street, and we're really proud of that. We also have another partner, Accenture, that just got certified, right, on 4.0. They're doing the similar thing, right, around compliance capable and CGIS, Criminal Justice Information Services. and then you have HCL also certified on this platform. So they're really formalizing their practices, they're building new capabilities, new skill sets. Another part of this whole thing is training and enablement, right? So we'll come in there and provide them boot camps from anywhere from 100 level enablement all the way down to the 300, 400 level, right? How do you actually automatically deploy this stack? How do you operate the stack? So we're building a capability within these partners that they never had before.
So you mentioned deployment of the toolkit. Can you talk a little about the DTK, the deployment toolkit, and how that actually begins to work, and how our customers and partners are going to consume that DDK?
Yeah, it's actually a funny story, right? We had to create automation to deploy the full stack because if you manually do this yourself, and you could, right? We give the guidance, implementation guides that are 1,000 pages long. It's going to take you 10 to 12 business days to do that by hand, a human being, around the clock, working 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Right.
With the automation, the deployment toolkit, we had to have that automation because to get this content out to all of our customers and partners fast enough, we had to build our test beds internally, right? So we couldn't take 10 days, 12 days every single time to do a test bed because we're iterating through this so fast. Right. We're standing up hundreds of test beds all the time, right? And so we built the automation internally. It turned out to be really robust. We gave that to a professional services group, PSO, within VMware, and then we hand that over to our certified partners, which are really our family as well, right? So as soon as you get certified, you get access to the deployment toolkit. And the deployment toolkit takes that 10 to 12 day deployment manually, which you're just following in the guides step by step, down to 4 or 5 hours.
Wow.
Right? So you're saving that time. And when you consider, you know, a project team at a partner that has 5 people on a client, and they're spending 10 to 12 days to do something, that's a lot of cost. You're burning a lot of dollars there, right? So we want to get the infrastructure up as fast as possible, provide that outcome, whether it's microsegmentation, compliance capable, or VDI, and get the customer on its way, right? That means repeat business for the partner. The partner is going to be called back to do more business.
So the message there to our partners that are out there watching today is you need to get certified on VVD as quickly as possible so you can have access to the deployment toolkit and then get all of that acceleration into your projects that you may not be seeing. And honestly, their competitors are getting that. So in order to really compete in a very difficult consulting world, you're going to need to be VVD certified.
Yeah, so the certification, what I would classify that as our elite partners, right? They went through a very rigorous process to get certified by VMware, and we are trusting those partners to be completely independent in the field with our customers to go out and sell, position, and deliver on this promise. If partners aren't going through that elite process and they just want to get started today, Brian, we have all this content online on Partner Central. So if you have access to Partner Central, we've already had 3,500 downloads off of Partner Central for the VVD content, right? So the kit that has all of the deployment guides and, you know, day 2 operations guides, the checklist that you need to prepare the environment, all that stuff's available. So if you want to get started today and you're not going to get certified tomorrow, I would say get started with that right away, because there's smaller partners that can get involved today and build a practice on this.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. So, and the testing, I think, is really the secret sauce that, you know, for years, let's be honest, the VMware product stack has been difficult for our partners to consume sometimes, having challenges with maybe different version numbers and maybe different pieces that don't always work well together. And so VVD automates all of that and tests it. And you're doing millions of test cases to make sure that these components are working well together before we go out. So it's a real proven test methodology that you've built.
Yeah, it's pretty unique in the industry in the sense that we are working with all the BUs that put together the products, from vSphere all the way through vRealize Suite, NSX, vSAN. So it's the whole kitchen sink when we talk about the SDDC portfolio. And there's so many integration points in these products, right? They are complex, but when you get them harmoniously working together, you can do a multitude of outcomes on top of them, right? Absolutely. We have customers doing some amazing things on the SDDC platform today. And they're trusting this testing, right? So I talked about the scalability testing, I talked about the interoperability testing that we do. We do a special thing called measurement and optimization. So this is something that is actually helping our product teams create new goals on the quality bars for those products. So for example, VRA, we work with the product team on vRealize Automation to reduce the time to deploy VRA 7 versus the 6.0 version or 6.x version by 50%.
Wow.
Right? We recorded all the inputs that it takes to deploy that product. We recorded all the context switch that a user would have to switch back and forth different screens. All the time that went by, right? And then we were able to say, here's the baseline, guys. We showed that to the product team. They were like, wow, this is really good data. Yeah. And we were able to create a new goal for them. Absolutely. And they met that goal, right? So if we can start to consolidate that time to value for customers and partners, again, we can give more time back to those higher value services that the customers and partners really want to get to.
Exactly.
Yep.
Wow, well, this is really the first industrial case infrastructure that VMware has come out with, and I'm really hearing a lot of good things from our partners. I know they're all really excited about getting on board both at Partner Central and coming to us if they really want to go through the certification process. At a bare minimum, go out there today to Partner Central, check out the VVD documentation. It's very well documented. Reach out to your account rep, your TAM, your account executive, and let's get going on the journey. And Josh, thank you for coming out tonight on Partner Focus. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I just want to say we just hit a milestone with VVD, so we have over 100 customers using this IP to deploy and operate their data center. So really came together nicely. I want to thank you for the time tonight, and it's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.